One of the ways men entangle women is through sex. Now, what happens during sex? There's a hormone called oxytocin. During sex, this oxytocin is being triggered and released in a very large quantity. And what is the effect of this oxytocin? Oxytocin and other chemicals, the hormones that makes women want bonding. Immediately after having sex with him, you just discover you just can't do without him. Hello everyone, my name is Ansa Alabra. I'm a dating and relationship coach for ladies with the sole aim of helping ladies like you regain control of their relationship. And if this sounds like what you're looking for, then subscribe to our channel and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so that anytime we release our videos, you'll be the first to be notified. This is one question I get repeatedly from most of my clients, which is, what can a lady do when a guy takes her for granted? Well, first of all, before we go into providing solutions, I want you to understand why a man takes a lady for granted. Familiarity, or should I say over familiarity, is one factor that leads to men taking ladies for granted. So what do I mean by over familiarity? Let me give you an example. You see, when your life becomes predictable, when a guy knows virtually everything about you and there's nothing mysterious about you, he can even predict, by 8 o'clock I know she is on her bed already, or by so time I know she is at this particular slot. I'm not saying your guy shouldn't know about your whereabouts, but what I'm simply trying to say is that when you become so predictable, like a plain book, that he can predict you almost over 90 or 98% of the times, then this can lead to what we call over familiarity. That's one. On the other aspect of it is that if you are always around him, you always call him, you're always in his house, especially for some of you who cohabit with a guy, you see, there's nothing mysterious about you. So at the end of the day, you become so predictable. The guy's attention begins to go outside. Why? Because he believes he has already conquered you. And if he has conquered you, there's no reason. And there's something I want you to also to understand, that men are naturally hunters. When a man is able to persuade you to a point where he gets absolute control of you, he sees no reason to stay with you any longer. So in other words, for him, I've conquered this one. Next, he looks forward to the next lady or the next relationship to conquer. So when that happens, men begin to take ladies for granted. So how can you turn things around for yourself? Number one, that power you gave him, take it back. What do I mean? That absolute attention you gave him, that absolute care you've been giving him, those things you used to do that gives him the audacity to think he can do anything and then get away with it. Those things you were doing when he was trying to woo you, go back and begin to do it. Take back your power. And this takes me to the second point. One thing that happens is that most of the time, when ladies fall in love, they tend to pay absolute attention to the guy and spend less care of themselves. One of the things you can do is to begin to practice self-love. As you take back that attention from him, put that attention on yourself. Take yourself out. Buy new clothes for yourself. Go for a treat. Before now, you used to sacrifice everything for him. You go ahead, go extra mile and do things. Stop those rubbish. If anytime you're going to do things, make sure it favors you first. Put yourself first. Somebody may say you are selfish. Whatever they want to call it, I don't care. The reason he takes you for granted is because you have put him on a pedestal. You have made him look so important. And that is why he takes you for granted. So one thing I will advocate is this. Let that attention put it back on yourself. This takes me to the next point. If you're actually gaining value, please give us a thumbs up. Before now, this guy is so sure that there is never a time he's going to put a call across to you that you won't pick. Some of you are so eager, hanging around your phone expecting his call to come in. Whatever you may be doing, you cancel those things just because you want to please your guy. Now, in this next point, I want you to now be selective on the calls you pick. It is not every of his calls that you pick. And let me recommend this video. There's a video I made called The Guy's Code. I'll put the link somewhere here and also below this video. I recommend it to every lady watching this video. In that video, I explain to you the dating secret when it comes to men. And I believe you will learn something that will revolutionize your dating life. You see, for the guy, he has come to believe that he can call you at any time and you will be available. Now, reduce that availability. And this can be done through your calls. Allow the phone sometimes to ring 3, 4, 5 times. After like 2, 3 hours, you send him a text and likely say, oh dear, sorry, I missed your call. How are you doing? Usually, you guys chat often. Now, when you discover he starts taking you for granted, when he chats you up, read the statement and don't reply immediately. What will happen to him psychologically? Will feel, this lady that sometimes, even before I finish writing what I'm saying, she's already replied. What is actually wrong? You now put him in a circumstance that he now begins to see you as a challenge. 1, 2, he begins to feel insecure. Is it that somebody is taking your attention? Or is it that something is happening at the background that he's not aware? I think he needs to sit up. But when he can have you and have everything at his beck and call, he will never value you. I don't know if what I'm saying is actually making sense. Now, this leads me to the last point. One of the ways men entangle women is through sex. Now, what happens during sex? You know, there's a hormone called oxytocin. Now, during sex, this oxytocin is being triggered and released in a very large quantity. And what is the effect of this oxytocin? Oxytocin and other chemicals, the hormones that makes women want bonding, that makes them want to care, that makes them want to bring close. The hormone responsible is oxytocin. So what happens is that you will discover before you as a lady sleep with a man, there's a way you reason, there's a way you treat him. But immediately after having sex with him, you just discover you just can't do without him. The problem is this. During sex, oxytocin is being released, and that makes you want to form bond with him. So even when he wants to go away, you will want to chase him and bring him back. So babe, when a guy begins to take you for granted, one thing I will advocate you do is this. Avoid the booty calls. Whenever he calls you for sex or whenever he calls you over, make sure you hang around him, but avoid having sex with him. Especially during these times that he's taking you for granted. I don't know if what I'm saying is making sense. Because if peradventure he sleeps with you, that hormone will begin to work again and then you will be incapacitated. So, to correct these things, during this season, avoid intercourse with this guy. And when you do that, it will make him reset his brain and see you as a challenge and try to solve that problem. Mind you, a man's brain is wired to solve problems. So the moment you become a challenge to him, he will try to make sure he wins you over. And when he does that, that relationship will be balanced. I don't know if you actually gain value in these things I just said. I would love to hear from you. Please go down to the comment section and tell me one thing you learned from this video. If you have any question or any relationship issue you would like me to coach or guide you on, there's a link below this video that will take you to my direct WhatsApp line. I think I'll have to call it today until I come your way tomorrow with another brand new video. From this side, don't forget that I love you and please take care of yourself.